It is a cold afternoon in what is now southern Germany about 28,000 years ago, and you are sitting just inside the mouth of a cave. Below you, a river cuts through the valley. The last strong light of the day falls across your hand. In one hand, you hold a dark stone to winter, smooth from handling. With a smaller stone, you chip at one end, then grind and polish it. Slowly, the shape comes through. It is a male symbol carved in siltstone longer than the hand that holds it. 28,000 years later, archaeologists pulled that carving from under the floor of the same cave, a site called Holofels. It had broken into 14 pieces. The team fitted them back together and measured the object at about 19 centimeters. That measurement raised an awkward question. Was this a simple tool or one of the oldest personal objects ever found? The honest answer is maybe. Nicholas Conrad of the University of Tübingen, who led the excavation, chose his words with care. One side of the stone carries scars of the kind left by striking flint, so it may have been a tool shaped like a male symbol or a symbol that also did the work of a tool. And who knows, maybe the person who made it used it both ways. And that is the question at the heart of this story. When ancient people carved the human body larger or smaller than life, what were they trying to say? Were they praising size, laughing at it, or putting it to work in belief and ritual? A stone cannot answer. We can hold the object, but the mind that shaped it is gone. The same stretch of Ice Age Europe gives us the other half of the picture. From France to Siberia, archaeologists have found small carved women. Today, we call them Venus figurines, though their makers never heard that name. Many show heavy chests, round bellies, and wide hips. Their faces are often blank, lowered, or barely carved. It would be easy to call them ancient beauty images. That reading may be far too simple. Researchers have argued over these figures for more than a century. Some read them as fertility charms, others as images of motherhood, and others as signs of food, status, or group identity. In the 1990s, Catherine McCoy and Leroy McDermott added a fresh idea. Some figures, they argued, match what a woman sees when she looks down at her own body. If they are right, some of these carvings could be self-portraits. We do not know which reading is correct. Several may be true at the same time. One ivory figure from Holofels ranks among the oldest known images of the human body. Think about what a full body meant during an ice age. It could mean stored energy through the dark months. It could mean a child more likely to be fed and a family more likely to see spring. A modern viewer looks at that figure and asks whether it was meant to be attractive. The carver may have been asking a harder question. Will we survive the winter? Both questions can live inside the same small piece of ivory. Here is the idea that runs underneath all of this. Ancient artists changed the body on purpose. One part could swell while another shrank. A face could almost vanish. Size carried a message, and the message changed from one river valley to the next. A large stone symbol does not prove that everyone admired that size. A small one tells us just as little on its own. Now, step forward about 25,000 years into a room full of classical Greek statues. The bodies look strong and calm, the shoulders sit broad, and the faces look peaceful. Then your eyes drift lower and the private detail is small. That choice was deliberate. The art historian Andrew Lear has described this pattern as a moral code written in marble. On gods, heroes, and young citizens, the male detail stays small and quiet. The large versions appear elsewhere, in Greek art on satyrs, comic figures, and wild outsiders ruled by appetite. To an ancient Greek, a modest male form could signal self-control. A large one could signal impulse. There is an easy modern joke waiting here. Were Greek men carving themselves small because they felt outmatched by the foreigners around them, perhaps by Africans held in service? The joke is tempting, and the evidence does not back it up. Greek servitude worked differently from the later Atlantic system. People held in service came from many places, including rival Greek cities captured in war. Africans do appear in Greek art, yet they formed one part of a much wider population. Nothing in the surviving record suggests that worry about size guided Greek sculpture. The likelier driver was morality and politics. In the Greek mind, the muscles could bulge and the jaw could be perfect, but appetite had to look quiet. The ideal citizen needed to rule himself before he could rule anyone else. The larger symbol never left daily life, though. It simply belonged to a different corner of the ancient world. Greeks and Romans set up herms beside doors, roads, and borders. A herm was usually a square stone post topped with a head, often tied to the god Hermes, and on its front sat the male detail as a bold, protective sign. To ancient eyes, this guarded the space and warned off bad luck at the boundary. Romans shrank the same idea into small charms, tiny protective male symbols hung from necks and doorways to turn away the evil eye. So a large symbol could offer protection, raise a laugh, or carry sacred power. Serious public art still kept the official body modest on purpose. Cross the sea to Egypt, and the rules shift again. In tomb and temple paintings, women appear slim, young, and balanced with long, smooth lines. Remember the warning from the cave, though. This was elite art built to last, a record of ideals rather than a survey of everyday taste. Place these paintings beside the Ice Age carvings, and the contrast jumps out. Ice Age art often enlarges the body, while Egyptian art smooths it into order and calm. Head north into the Aegean and the Bronze Age, Cycladic figures go further still. These pale marble women stand with folded arms, their faces nearly empty, often just a nose. The whole body softens into clean, quiet shapes. Do these islanders simply prefer slighter figures? We cannot know. The style reduced the body to its outline, and a style makes a poor record of private taste. When the Greeks later carved women, the same love of balance took over. Stand Aphrodite beside an Ice Age figurine, and the difference is plain. The goddess is moderate everywhere, calm and even. The Greek male ideal kept the private details small, and the Greek female ideal kept the whole figure restrained. Both grew from the same root. Rome borrowed heavily from Greece, and its public art usually showed controlled bodies. Rome also left behind its other face. On clay lamps, on charms, and in the wall scribbles of Pompeii, the body turns loud, rude, and comic. Two Romes existed at once, one carved for the forum and one scratched into plaster by people having a laugh. One of the most useful ancient views comes from India. The Kama Sutra, the classical Indian guide to love and private life, sorts men into three types named after animals: the hare, the bull, and the horse. Women fall into three matching types: the deer, the mare, and the elephant. The text treats size as a question of fit between two partners. A well-matched pair gets along easily, while a mismatched pair has to work harder. Size matters in these pages, yet it never becomes a contest or a ranking. So, did size matter to ancient humans? Yes. And it never meant only one thing. In the Ice Age, an enlarged body in stone or ivory may have spoken of fertility, survival, ritual, humor, or some blend of them all. In Greece, a modest male form could carry self-control and public honor. In Egypt and the Aegean, a slim or moderate female form could carry youth, order, and refinement. In the Kama Sutra, size mattered most as the fit between two people. The body was never just a body. Each culture wrote its values onto the human form and then called the result beautiful. Sometimes that meant carving the shape, large, and sometimes small. We still do the same thing every time we look at another person and read a story into their shape. The only difference is that we no longer need the stone.